Des Moines, Iowa. It is Joel and Luke here with the King and Country with some incredibly exciting news.
Yes, this fall, the King and Country Live, the Unsung Hero Tour. We're going to play some of your past favorites, new favorites, maybe even a Christmas song, an all-new production that has really been 30 years in the making. You are invited. Grab a family member, a friend, to kingcountry.com for tickets. We'll see you there.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru and BMW of Des Moines. Live and on demand across Iowa everywhere. From the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy. Connected by Cellular Advantage.
Welcome to Murph and Andy Live. It's sports and more from Iowa everywhere, along with Andy Fales in West Des Moines, Andrew Downs in, what is that technically, AD?
Urbandale, baby.
Urbandale, the U. I'm Keith Murphy in Tempe, Arizona here today, where already this morning, it's still morning here, it's 99 degrees and climbing to 107. So I opted to stay inside. I'm inside. Jenny is by the pool right now, probably watching. It is hot, but glad to be with you. It's good to be able to do this.
Yeah, it is. This is a neat feature of our new system here. Good to see you too.
It's good to be seen. I just see too Iowa State football announcing another night game, 6:30 p.m. versus UCF. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks, but that'll be a night game. Also today, we see that Caleb Brown for Iowa and LaShawn Williams are both opting out and getting into the portal at some point. It's college football, they gotta find a way to get this under control.
Yeah, there's stuff in the middle of the season. It's so bad for the schools and the coaches. And I can't imagine that it's all that great for the players. What are they? I mean, they just sit around for the rest of the season.
I know it's just it's dispiriting. That's for sure. Coming up, Cyclones put the dream season on high alert. The Hawkeyes show they can't run with the big dogs, and we'll have more, including a storm brewing that has my sister texting me from Florida. It's getting Cat 5 now.
Yeah, it's still out over the water, but yeah, it's strengthened. Yep.
Man. Well, all right. Right now, though, let's go high or low since last show. And High or Low is presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax in Ankeny, serving retirees, pre-retirees, business owners, and executives. Andy, high or low or both?
Well, I do have both. I'll just go. I know we're just supposed to do one here, so I'm going to go low, and I will say I didn't get out of the studio last night until 12:45 a.m. because it was pouring down rain in Pittsburgh last night. They delayed the start of the Steelers-Cowboys Sunday Night Football game, and we still did a newscast.
Wow,
KWWL called midnight. It.
Yeah, KWWL in Waterloo, they canceled.
I would imagine everybody did, and out in Pittsburgh, I mean, it's an hour later out there. So I mean, just so stinking late. I don't know. We had 3 viewers, maybe. We were able to record sound off ahead of time, so that was nice. And so we didn't have to stay any later than that. But still, I mean, it was 1 a.m. by the time I got home. So it kind of threw me off. I had to get home and just immediately go to bed.
I'm going to go high and low. I'm going to do both, but I'm going to start with my low. This goes back to Friday night after we're done the Football Friday primetime game at Waukee Northwest. I get home and I need to leave for the airport at 3:45 in the morning. So I get home and I'm starting to pack to leave. And this takes a little bit to explain this, but someone has a nice follower of ours has sent a box in the mail that has Dan Patrick's Honey Moonshine in it as a gift. And he's also sent a photo, the listener. He sent a photo that he had taken with us once at Fiscus Jewelers, and he wants us to sign it. And he included a self-addressed stamped envelope to sign the photo and return it to him. Could not have been nicer, real nice note attached. But somehow in this box, because of the moonshine, a bee comes out and stings my finger, and it immediately swells up, and it is painful. Like I was in a lot of pain. And
Stung the very tip of your finger?
Yes. And I have a reasonably high pain tolerance. And I was like, man, it hurts so much. So I didn't know what to do. I sent you a text because you know these things from camping and whatnot. And just true to form, you just don't check your phone for text that much. So then I thought, like, Chris Williams,
it was late at night when you sent that.
Yeah. And Chris Williams' wife is a vet. I thought I'll try her, but it's the night before a game, so he's probably out drinking Busch Light, and he's probably drinking moonshine as well. So I end up calling Teledoc and getting instructions on what to do to get the stinger out and how to treat it.
Take some tweezers and pull it out.
Don't do that. That spreads the venom more into the finger, so you have to kind of wipe it away. You have to kind of wipe the stinger away.
How's that different than pulling it out with a pair of tweezers?
Because if you squeeze, the Teledoc said if you squeeze the stinger, it'll spread more venom into your finger, and then you're going to feel the pain all over again. It's going to feel like you got stung again.
Okay, Teledoc.
All right.
Yeah. The stinger doesn't have any venom in it.
Cost down.
There's no stinger. There's no venom in the stinger's just the tip.
There's a reason they're not real doctors. They're
right.
doctors.
Okay.
They are real doctors. Don't say that. So anyway, that was just awful. That was a bad experience. So, but it did get better immediately. I went to the airport and I got here and just going to go with a little bit of a high here at a couple of things that have happened in Tempe. One of them, Andy, is I reconnected with Jackie Jarris, who used to work at WHO 13 and left and went to CNN and now works at the Weather Channel. And one of the cool things, one of those small world stories, unbeknownst to us, even though we were friends and worked together at WI and then WHO, she left. Our sons became best of friends here, not knowing the connection of the two of us at first. So, yeah, there's Ashton and Colin. They're close friends. And that's a small world story. And that was just really cool to reconnect with Jackie here and her husband, Mike, who is a pilot for Delta Airlines. So that was fun. And then we went to the game against Kansas, and Arizona State won in a wildly entertaining game. And Colin was so happy, and I got to celebrate with him, and that was fun. So that's my high. And the low was that bee sting. God, that really stunk. All right, let's get the buzz here on Murph and Andy on a
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
How about Iowa State just moving into? I know I can feel Cyclone fans, and we have so many friends who are hardcore fans. I can feel them not wanting to let this get too far away at this point in the season. But 5-0 for the first time in 44 years, and that great whiteout on national television. It's a good time to be a Cyclone football fan, Andy.
Yeah, I went up to the game on Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. The weather was hot, but it was a dry heat, and it was windy, so it didn't feel too bad. But yeah, I mean, the place was absolutely packed hours in advance. You know, with a 6:30 kickoff, everybody is nice and primed for that game. But the whiteout was a resounding success, and I'll do a hot take here and say that the whiteout is far better than the blackout. The whiteout is the best out color. First of all, everybody's got white. Second of all, when the sun goes down, it really pops. The stands really pop. There's so much more that you can do. And a lot of people don't look good in black. You look all goth, like you're going to a Slipknot concert or something. But everybody looks good in white, and they've got white, and they can make that work no matter who your team is. And so when the fans stand up and kind of move and shake, the whiteout kind of has this ripple effect, kind of quakes all around the stadium. And it looked really, really good. And then the kids get up, and put their phones on. And I just think that really, really, really worked. It was full all the way to the upper corners of Jack Trice Stadium, which is where everybody looks to see how full it truly is. As you can see, the hillsides are full as well. There were so many people even outside the stadium that didn't even go to the game. It was just a great, great atmosphere. The new sound system that they have at the stadium, Jamie Pollard had told us a little bit about that. That was one of the new things coming this season. That sound system rocks so hard that it literally shakes the press box and the other luxury boxes like a maraca. I mean, you could, there's like a buzzing, shaking, rattling sound when the speakers are at full tilt in that stadium. And I imagine that just kind of adds to it. I do worry. I imagine some of the structural engineering students that are in the stands are maybe a little bit worried. But man, that sound system absolutely kicks. And I think that, the Juicy Wiggle has been going for several years now, and it's really caught on. And it is the best student tradition that we have going here in the state. It is, it clearly all the kids are into it, but then adults try to act like they're kids too, and they do it. And then the little kids, and we were with my friend Dylan's son, Griffin, who was there, and he's in fourth grade, I think third or fourth grade. And that's all he wants in life, is to be old enough to be in the student section and do the Juicy Wiggle. So that's working when you have, people on both sides of the age group that it's actually designated for who want to participate.
It looked really cool. And I was at a maroon out at Arizona State's Sun Devil Stadium, and that did not work. There were far too many people wearing, I was one of them, a white shirt. Some people were wearing black shirts. To your point, it didn't work. It did not look like a maroon out. The Cyclone, the Jack Trice Stadium, the Cyclone fans, that looked fantastic. I mean, that was a great atmosphere. So big success for the whiteout. To the sound system, one of the things we're finding interesting here as we go around to these high school football games is it's not surprising the kids want to hear the loud music as they're warming up and everything, but just looking at some of the grandparents and in some cases parents in the stands that are just really uncomfortable when the rap music or the heavy metal music is blaring so loud it kind of hurts your ears. That's now at the high school level too, that sometimes the speakers can be too loud.
Oh, you're talking about the speakers at Waukee Northwest on Friday. I mean, that's a really nice sound system, and it's all integrated with the lighting that they have there. But it's loud. Yeah,
it's loud. It
loud.
Worked pretty well there. It was a little too loud at times at Ankeny earlier in the season, but they're playing the games for the students. It's supposed to be about the students, so I do get that. So Iowa State 5-0, first time in 44 years, and as we said last week when it got to 24 years, and we shared some photos, we're all going to share a photo of something we were doing 44 years ago. And for me, again, unfortunately, I have trouble finding photos. I need to find a headshot, but I couldn't find a headshot. This is all I could find from 44 years ago. This is a varsity game, and I'm handing the football off there to that's Darrell Rivas carrying the ball, and Big Willie Smith, number 75, he's pulling on this play. It looks like a trap.
That's good, though. You can clearly see it's you.
Yeah, you can see your face, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and this is why my son Colin, his final year, switched to number 11, because that was my number back in the day. So that's not really fun. If I could have, when I find a photo of that's more what I look like. Okay, that's not a photo. That's the work of ray gun, but that
is working
that's the
off
hair.
a photo, though. Yeah,
yeah, that's working off a photo from the basketball season, from how we posed for the basketball team that year. What do you have, Andy? I want to see this.
Well, there are giant piles of pictures, but the easiest thing to grab was one of those team photos, and here I am, Webster Groves Hockey, 1980.
That's awesome.
Yeah, got the just the steel blade skates there. Those are old school, man. Got the
You're
skate
a cute
guards
kid.
on.
Yeah, for those who can't see and are only listening,
Yeah,
this is a cute photo. Like that, there's nothing embarrassing about that. That's
the wooden
that's a nice
stick.
photo.
Oh yeah, that's old school. A wooden stick. That's in the old Webster Groves warming house there. And I don't feel like it's cold enough anymore for them to even have an outdoor rink there anymore. It was when I was a kid, and that worked. And I know they got rid of that a long time ago, but that was back in the outdoor rink days.
Wow.
Where we would play. Probably half the games we played were at outdoor rinks in St. Louis. So think about that.
I like that we went back far enough in time, 44 years. So I'm a sophomore quarterback at that point. So in these photos, I don't have the mustache. Now we go to my senior year. If we only go back 42 years, then you would clearly see the mustache. And by that time, I've hurt my neck, so I'm a quarterback playing with a neck roll. So I'll take the photo from the 44 years ago. It's better. AD, can't wait to see what you have from 44 years ago.
Yeah, I'll make it 3 for 3 on the sports themes. This is when my dad was a football coach and teacher at Bettendorf High School. You can see him there with the state championship trophy. There's my mom with him. My mom's got my oldest brother, Brian, in her arms. My dad's got my older brother, Brad, in his arms. I do not appear in this photo. I wasn't born yet in 1980. I'm the glimmer in my parents' eye in this picture. If you look close enough,
You're the idea in your dad's head.
that's right. I'm
Right.
the idea in my dad's head of these two have kind of screwed things up. Let's try for a third and see if we can get it right. And they did.
He looks like he's thinking about it in this photo.
He does. Yeah, check this out. Here's my parents right around that time as well.
Oh,
Happy with just 2 kids.
Jeez.
But yeah,
That's
I
cool.
look so much like Ginny.
Yeah. My
Jenny
daughter
looks so
and
much
my
like your
look
mom,
exactly like, yeah. But yeah, I wasn't around in 1980. I was born in October of 82, so I've
It's a
never
long
seen
time.
a 5-0 Iowa State football team.
Wow.
Until
Yeah, there's
now.
a lot of people listening or watching right now who have never seen a 5-0 Iowa State football team. So, yeah, get excited. Some of the things we talked about, this was the year Who Shot JR? The Shining was in theaters. Call Me was a big hit. Michael Jackson released Off the Wall. Empire Strikes Back changed Andy's life. Reagan beat Carter in the presidential election. That's a long time ago.
The hostages in Iran. That was
Yeah.
like the biggest story of the year. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Is that Olivia Newton-John on the right of that magazine? I think it is. Maybe John Lennon
No, I don't know
shot
who
that
did it.
year?
Oh,
80?
on the far right, yeah, that's Olivia Newton-John. Who's the
Yeah.
blonde next to her though?
I can't tell.
I can't tell. Lennon.
Remind me, 1980. Where
Is
are
that
you?
is that Melissa Gilbert in the bottom next to Tom Selleck? I can't tell.
Oh, I see Selleck's mustache. Yeah, that should
Yeah.
that makes an appearance. Yeah, I see. Let me see. We got Han Solo, Princess Leia.
Oh, Laura grows
Reagan in
up.
the
Yeah,
middle.
that's Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie. And then the blonde is that Deborah Harry from Blondie.
All Call Me.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the rewind here on Murph and Andy, presented by Ramsey, Subaru, and BMW of Des Moines. We are powered by the Cellular Advantage. I'm really powered by the Cellular Advantage because I'm running off my phone here.
It's all on them.
Yeah, at the Tempe Palms in Tempe, Arizona. Leaving today, by the way, but the flight out isn't till tonight. So thank you, Cellular Advantage. Let's get to the rewind here. Iowa State against Baylor. And in the second quarter, Baylor led 14-12, but the momentum shifted quickly.
54 remaining. Low snap. Williams has it blocked. It was rejected and is scooped up by Jackson. I know by another Cyclone. It will be a touchdown for Iowa State on the block punt. And Caden Matson, the pride of Humboldt, scoops and scores.
That's John Walters. The audio is courtesy of Learfield as Iowa State takes a 19-14 game. By the way, Andy, I always love it when there's this much of a contrast in uniforms. It just makes it so easy and pleasing on the eye. You got one team in all green and one team in all white. It was a good look visually.
Yeah, those Cyclone uniforms worked. They worked well. The whole thing did.
Big night. Baylor takes the lead back.
Caden Matson also, I talked to him, one of the RV TV stops that we made in Humboldt. He's a really nice kid. That was cool to see him get that.
Yeah, big moment there. And the Cyclone script on the side of the helmet, that does look
that
cool.
Worked.
Baylor gets the lead back, but the Cyclones again had the answer.
Will give to Jackson, and a great fake, got inside the 5, touchdown, Jalen Jackson, what a move, unbelievable jab step, left a man looking for ghosts, and then took it in from 10 yards out.
Jalen Jackson had himself a night.
He really did. He's an exciting player. Fans love a running back like that. A small running back that just has lightning quick reflexes, puts on 4 or 5 jukes, can fake a defender out of his shoes. Also has some power too. I mean, that was one thing that was kind of impressive and fun to watch in that game is there were a number of times where Cyclone runners were able to carry some tacklers with them. That was a really good game out of that backfield.
It really was. And Jontez Williams' interception in the end zone stops the Baylor Bears' next drive. And then the Cyclones never look back.
Receivers right, 2 left. Rocco looks left, dumps it off that way. Caught! Jaden Higgins again! Touchdown, Iowa State. That's 7 consecutive games with a touchdown reception.
43-21, the final audio, again, courtesy of Learfield. So Baylor starts pretty well, but Iowa State just dominates the second half and pulls away and puts away a Bears team that did make a few people nervous going in because they played.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Now let's play the post-game reaction.
Guy has something to say.
Yeah, let's hear
It was
from
just
him.
amazing to watch, honestly. One of the best games I've been a part of, so it was just fun to see everybody making plays all over the field. The way we practiced this week, I would just say, very hard, and shout out to the coaches for putting together a great plan for them.
I think we're really fortunate right now. We've got a lot of really good football players, and you can't have big plays without really talented players. And so I think we'll take some of the positive and also take some of the learning lessons and say, man, how do we do a great job moving forward? But you got to have great players, and our great players certainly stood up and made some big plays for us tonight.
I think it's just the mental toughness that everybody has, and the ability to stay consistent, and the ability to keep our head down and keep driving no matter what the score is, no matter what our record is, no matter the stats. We just continue to play as a team.
Thank you, Mark Freund, WHO 13, for the audio video there, the interviews in the postgame as Iowa State moves to 5-0 and moves us to a quickie poll from WCI Pools and Spas. And this is the time where I know this kind of poll makes some people nervous if they're fans, but this is the fun stuff.
Yeah, will Iowa State be in the college football playoff? Yes or no?
That's totally a poll that makes people nervous. Absolutely. Of
course.
You knew what was going on when you wrote that. It is the fun stuff. I mean, it's what we do as Barstool sports fans, sit around and speculate and wonder if you can reach the moon. And they control their own destiny.
They're the favorite.
Point. I mean, how often can you say that? Yeah, 5 games in, how often can you say that? They have an absolutely huge game this weekend, which, if we could ask this poll next week, I think we'd all have probably feel better about our educated guess. But, I mean, look, I need to see a little bit more. I want to see this team go on the road. Their first half worried me on Saturday night. I do feel like John Haycock does this to me all the time, though. I mean, I feel like he gaslights me. You watch the first half, And I know that they had some injuries there in the first half, and they were really adding up. They were losing players off that defense right and left. But still, it looked like a very typical Cyclone defense first half where they rush three. Those guys don't get any pressure on the quarterback. The quarterback looks good. It's picking apart Iowa State. They're moving the ball. They're scoring. They were leading. They were playing better than the Cyclones were. And then a light goes on, and the whole second half, they're pressuring the quarterback. The defense is looking great. And you're wondering what the hell was going on in the first half. Mm-hmm. Like, I saw that. I did see that. That did happen. But you feel like you're being gaslighted by John Haycock. All's well that ends well. And, they all openly admit that they have a bunch of things that they need to work on. I just worry a little bit more about, you do that on the road in a place where, the crowd is, against you and against a better team like West Virginia being a better team than Baylor. I worry about playing that kind of first half. And I feel like I still need to see a little bit more. But when that Cyclone team started kicking on Saturday night, they absolutely looked like a top team.
Yeah, ranked number 11 now. So moving up, tied with Notre Dame. I think this is one of the things we're going to see too, Andy, is there are some disadvantages to not being in the SEC or Big Ten. The money is the main one, and it's a huge disparity, and it's only going to grow. But one of the positive things, I think, for a Cyclone fan is you can look at the schedule, especially if you're able to beat Iowa, which Iowa State did in dramatic fashion, came back and won that game. You can then look at the schedule and say, you know what? I see a path to the college football playoff. I think increasingly, like in Iowa and teams in the SEC or in the Big Ten, it's going to be difficult for them to see the path to the college football playoff when they know standing in the way is going to be what amounts to a professional football team, Ohio State. I mean, yeah, Iowa, the gap is still there, but when you play a team, and some years it'll be Michigan, some years it's going to be Ohio State, sometimes it's going to be USC, but these huge budget programs are able to bankroll $20 million in players. And that doesn't always mean they can't be beat, but you can see right now with Hawkeye fans, they still have a possibility of 8-4, 9-3, maybe even 10-2. But it feels deflating right now because the path to the playoff is done. I mean, it's done.
For Iowa, you're talking
for
about?
Iowa.
Yeah.
It's done. And in some ways, I think like if an Iowa were in the Big 12, wouldn't that be more fun in some ways for Hawkeye fans? Because right now, the way things stand, and with the gap that was on that field, you just can't picture Iowa going through the Big Ten anytime soon and beating a $20 million Ohio State team or some of these other teams. So I think it's just going to be interesting to see how all this plays out.
Right, how big the gap gets between the haves and the don't have as muches or the don't haves at all in certain conferences. But then you see Vanderbilt beat Alabama and stuff like that, and then you feel like, okay, maybe I was just nuts. Yeah, right. But those are flashes in the pan and huge exceptions to the rule for the most part. They're not supposed to happen. But, look, Oklahoma and Texas are gone. Do any Iowa State fans care about that at this point? I mean, you're not to the point where you can be worried that much about the college football playoff. Right. I think if you're an Iowa State fan, I mean, you're just, first of all, who wants to jump way ahead?
Enjoy the ride.
This ride. Oh my God, this ride is great.
Have fun.
So much fun.
This is what you want.
And you have challenges, but they're all winnable games. I mean, the rest of the schedule, this entire schedule. And you just love the fact that for now the Big 12 has a place at the table like this. So, Iowa State, they go to West Virginia. Texas Tech is a team that's, piling up wins. I think they're the 1-3-0 team in the Big 12 right now. And they could be 5-0 when they come to Ames. And, I think just the idea that you feel like as a fan, if my team plays well and I do all I can at the home games to get loud and really participate, they're going to be in this because I think you like both of your coordinators right now at Iowa State, both the big coordinators, a lot. I think you love your skill position players. I mean, I think you've shown you've got some depth as well. I don't know that I can really solidly point to any one unit on this team and say, they worry me. I mean, this just looks like a very complete team that also happens to be very exciting.
Yeah, you used to point to the special teams, but the special teams have been a real asset this season. And all of us who thought that needed more emphasis feel right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he had the missed extra point by Conradi, but then you get that block punt.
Yeah.
Block punt bounces cleanly into Madsen's hands. I mean, the whole stadium just goes nuts there. And then you're feeling like, okay, we can write off that first quarter. We can write off really anything in the first half that we didn't like to injuries or they were just getting going or whatever. That just looked like a team that was clearly better than Baylor and played like it.
Let's go to Columbus, Ohio, where Ohio State, number 2 team in the country now, 3 going in, thumps Iowa 35-7. In the first quarter, Ohio State marched right down the field.
Left, 1 running back. And he's going to get, play fake. Howard rolling right, throws, touchdown. Touchdown, Buckeyes. Right at the pylon, Emeka Abuka had single coverage.
That audio courtesy of Learfield. That's Gary Dolphin, voice of the Hawkeyes. So it's 7-zip in a hurry, but it's also 7-zip at halftime. So we said Friday, to be successful, we thought the game needed to get to the fourth quarter with the outcome somewhat in doubt. And at halftime, even though the offense isn't doing much, and Cade McNamara, again, does not look like a quality Big Ten quarterback, it's 7-0. So you feel like maybe it will get to the fourth quarter, but it doesn't.
Well, did it not remind you of the last game between those two teams in Columbus? I mean, at least the first half did, where the defense is playing really, really well. The offense just is not potent enough to put points on the board. But I was in it at that point. I don't think anybody felt like they were going to win it, but they were in it. And then, the second half rolls around, and then, the skill position players for Ohio State just start looking like they are head and shoulders above any defense in college football. They start looking like NFL players.
Early in the third, Ohio State freshman Jeremiah Smith displayed his talent.
Back, tight end goes in motion. They lob it to the corner, and a great catch for a touchdown by Jeremiah Smith, the freshman. His 6th touchdown grab of the year. Single coverage, Deshaun Lee. And man, oh man, he warded Lee off with his left arm, reached back with his right, and caught the ball one-handed.
That makes it 14-0 after a quick Hawkeye turnover in the form of a strip sack. The route was on.
Goal for the Buckeyes. This after the McNamara fumble.
Quarterback keep.
Howard tries to get the corner turn, steps inside the pylon. Deshaun Lee whiffed, but a nifty move by Will Howard. And he has his 4th rushing touchdown of the year.
Thanks to Learfield for the audio. That made it 21-0. 35-7 is the final. So when you look back the past 2 seasons against ranked teams, that puts it at 127-7. And the 7 came when the game was decided. That's been talked about a lot. And I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's changing. That's the big difference in the Ferentz era, Andy, is you used to count on Iowa to be in these games against the best teams in the fourth quarter or in a bowl game, and it's just not happening anymore. There's
because
just
they had more offense. I mean, they just had
just
more
too much
offense
separation.
They had more offense. They had kick returners who could make a difference. I mean, Cooper DeJean was definitely one of those types of people, but they had those every single year. And things would happen on the road where they would put it together at Penn State, at Michigan, even occasionally against Ohio State. But I don't know. Didn't we all think that this is probably what we were going to see in this game? And it seems to me that
I thought they would score more.
This was a blowout. It was a blowout.
It was.
But a 28-point loss in Columbus is, in my opinion, the most excusable blowout that you can have in the Big Ten. So you could tell I'm stretching a little bit to say something, but
it's not a surprise.
No,
it really is not a surprise.
It's not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, really, when you walk away disappointed, I think you're just kind of disappointed that you didn't see more of, some flashes offensively, and that the defense just eventually lost its grip in the second half. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think you're an Iowa fan and you walk away thinking, well, fold up the tents. When's basketball start? I think you just got to remember how you felt going into the game.
I think it does make it even more painful how Iowa lost to Iowa State. I mean, I think you look back at that. I think the season feels differently if you just have this one loss sitting there now, and it was at Ohio State, and it was to this really talented $20 million Buckeye team. I think you feel better about the season, but you don't just have that blowout loss at Ohio State. You lost at home to your arch rival in-state, and you did it in what you feel like as a fan was painful fashion and some coaching conservatism and blunders, and then Iowa State took it. They took it from Iowa, and I do think that's going to hang over this season for a while because you've got that other loss sitting there, not just the one to Ohio State. And Andy, the great equalizer in football, as we know, and it's been more so over, our careers, is the quarterback position. Like you look at what Jaden Daniels is doing in Washington, it's completely changed the franchise. And Iowa has just been many years since they've had anybody that's even near that kind of an impact player at that position that could go to like a Columbus and have a quarterback so talented that you feel like, well, this guy can keep us in the game. He's that good. Cade McNamara is not that guy. And I think many fans, and I'm sure the coaches, thought he might be that guy, but he's not. He has 5 turnovers in Iowa's 2 losses. He has 0 touchdowns at Iowa versus Power 4 teams. I mean, those are bad stats. But Kirk Ferentz is not going to make a change, apparently. Here's Kirk Ferentz talking about the quarterback position.
More comfortable and more decisive and, quicker getting the ball out, which he was doing a really good job of that in the first half. They're rushing the pass pretty well too then, and I thought he got the ball out. And, we just have to get better collectively, and run the ball better will help us in that regard too. So, I'm not, I don't know, so I'm not disappointed. Obviously, we wanted more yards and more points. But I'm optimistic, and I think we can get better, and I think we will get better. And I think we got 2 guys that are capable of, hopefully moving our football team with both quarterbacks. But, I think, Cade will be fine.
That's Kirk Ferentz, and the video there from Columbus, courtesy of Blake Hornstein at WHBF. Thank you, Blake, for sending us that video. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. I don't want this to be misunderstood, though. The quarterback is not the difference in this game or anything, but it is a continuing problem at Iowa. There's just not an impact player at that position, and hasn't been for a long time.
No, and again, this is not the right game to draw up that analysis. Ohio State, there is a bigger gap now with this team and the rest of the Big Ten than there probably ever has been. I mean, truly. I mean, that's a $20 million team, at least. It's ridiculous. The stuff that they have there that the other schools will never have. I mean, we'll never have. They will never close that gap. It's not going to. You could put Brad Banks on this Iowa team, and that still would have been a decisive win for Ohio State. I just, it's not the game where you sit there and say, okay, this is your final test. You know, it's not. It shouldn't be. I don't think anybody is doing that, but I mean, it's just the most recent one. We didn't like what we saw, and so people.
Some people are doing that.
Some people are doing that.
Yeah.
Did you remind them of
some fans are pretty emotional?
Did you ask what they expected going into that game, though? And then wrote that down?
This has been the kind of back and forth that I've gone through as a fan in my own head. I've gone back and forth on social media. We dealt with it on Instant Iowa here on Iowa Everywhere. Not even we were on halfway through the fourth. I think there were 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. When
you guys fired it up before the game.
Oh,
was
did
over.
you go early? I wondered if you went early.
We had lost interest. I actually got to see Iowa's one touchdown against a ranked team live on camera. That was fun.
Saw that.
But no, I think there's this. It's the two-sided thing that you guys have both laid out well here. Of on one hand, you're not competing with teams like this anymore, and that's really frustrating. And you understand why it's frustrating for fans. On the other hand, is it realistic to expect to compete with teams like this anymore? And what does that actually mean for a program? What are our expectations as Iowa fans? If Iowa rattles off 7 wins in a row here to end the season against 7 beatable teams, is another 10-win season where you got housed by the 2 good teams you played, not housed by Iowa State, but you lost to the 2 good teams you played. Is that good enough? What are our expectations? And it's an ongoing conversation. It feels like the same conversation we've had with the basketball program for a while. The bottom never drops out enough to be done with everything and clear the floor and make big changes, but you're not getting to that next level. And in football, you're not even really competing for that next level.
I get that, and that's a fair enough point. But just putting that out of your mind, they did just beat up on Minnesota, and Minnesota just beat USC. I mean, seriously, you don't have to go into history books to find things to feel good about this team on. I mean, this team is not competitive in Columbus, Ohio.
But isn't
you know how many other teams you could say that about? Every other team.
But Andy, I think the main thing here, and AD would be a better person to ask about this. I think the main reason for the disappointment is everyone thought maybe the offense with Brian Ferentz gone and a healthy Cade McNamara and a backup in Brendan Sullivan and a great running back, an all-American running back, that maybe the offense would go there and show enough signs of life to not win the game, but to feel like, okay, a page has been turned. I feel better as a fan watching this offense. It's not last year's offense or the year before, or Deacon Hill or Spencer Petras.
But I do feel that way about this offense, though.
What I saw Saturday was not Deacon Hill and last year's offense. It was more competent. Now, those turnovers in the second half absolutely killed them. You gave Ohio State short fields, and they just poured it on, and the game was over before you could blink. Not completing that pass to Weechin, who kind of broke away in the first on the first drive for Iowa. That's a big worry about Cade McNamara and his arm strength, missing the field goal by inches, the conservative play calling, not going for it on fourth down at midfield against a team that you know you're going to need to score against. Yep. Those are all things, but we're also 5 games into the Tim Lester era, and I do think the offense looks better. I wish we were going to get Brendan Sullivan, but I banged my head against a wall for too long as an Iowa fan to believe that they're ever going to switch quarterbacks. I'm glad we get the little amount of Brendan Sullivan that we do. But I do think the offense is better. I don't know that it's going to get to the point where they can compete with these teams. But again, the big change that needed to be made last offseason was that offensive coordinator. That change was made. And I do think the offense looks better this year. Exactly. And so we have to give Tim Lester's offense a little bit more time to develop and find itself. And again, as Andy's laid out, trying to draw major conclusions off of playing a team like Ohio State, who's far better than the USC team that just got beat by Minnesota, far better than the Tennessee team. Now, Bama getting beat really hurts a lot of, on Instant Iowa, I was saying, hey, these teams are never going to lose to teams like this. And then I watched Vanderbilt beat Bama. So it can happen. But it's dangerous to draw too many major conclusions from playing a team like that.
All right, it's Murph and Andy. I'm in Tempe. Andy's in West Des Moines. AD's in the U. Urbandale, and now fun with audio. This is 13 years ago. A tragedy actually happens, but an intern makes it an embarrassing moment for this local television station by changing the names.
On the plane crash, KTVU has just learned the names of the 4 pilots who were on board the flight. They are Captain Sum Ting Wong, Wee Tu Lo, Ho Lee Fook, and Bang Ding Ao. The NTSB has confirmed these are the names of the pilots.
Holy Fook. She leaned into that Fook. We too low. Did they figure out exactly what an intern did that? An intern put those in?
Got fired.
I can't. I've seen this 6 times today, and I can't stop laughing. It's hilarious.
Captain Sum Ting Wong.
Way too low.
Time for throwdowns.
Oh my God.
Hold on. I'm getting
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
All right, let's throw it down here, guys. The Cyclones might be playoff bound, but the Big 12 champions, the Big 12 champions are going to get that first round bye. Would you rather see the Cyclones automatically into those quarterfinals, or would it be better to have a home game at Jack Trice Stadium in the playoffs?
Better to have a home game. This system is so flawed that I expect it to be changed soon. It's just, it makes no sense. You earn your way in by winning the conference championship, and then some other team that didn't do that gets a home game, and then you're sent to some drastic attempt to continue to make these bowls relevant. No, they need to fix this. I'm sure they will in time, but God, that's the best part about college football is the home atmospheres. Stop trying to keep these bowls going.
This has happened in college football for so long, right? With these conference championship games, a team goes and plays in the conference championship game. They lose, and since that's the most recent loss, the rankings drop them down and bring some other team up. You actually get punished for making the conference championship game or something like that. Yeah, this is a silly system, and I think they'll change it, but it's college football.
You can't be sure.
Yeah, I mean, play that home game. I would truly love to see that. I think Iowa State fans will make that choice. I mean, anytime that they can kind of control something, whether it's a game that they can travel to well or actually having one at home, I think they pick that every time.
And try to get a Southern team to Ames or, someday Iowa City, if that could ever happen. That would be fun.
Andy, Riley Moss got his first NFL interception yesterday. Now, a lot has been made about him being the first white NFL cornerback in over 20 years. We've seen him play at a high level since high school. Are you surprised that Riley Moss is working out at cornerback in the NFL?
No, because I watched him play at Iowa with one of the best defenses in all of college football, and he was a really good player. So, no. I mean, why would I be surprised about it? I truly do think that the NFL is a meritocracy, and I believe he's good enough to earn that position. So I shouldn't be surprised that he's in the position and doing what that position is supposed to do.
I'm not surprised. I think that much in the way that in my lifetime, especially in the South, I mean, the quarterback that I succeeded at my high school was the first black quarterback in the history of our high school. His name was Derek Manning. I still keep in touch with him. He's a great guy and a great person. And he graduated, and then I became the quarterback there. And that was a big deal that my high school had a black quarterback, because there was just an inherent bias at that time that you would move black players to other positions. And I think in some ways that probably happens to white cornerbacks and receivers for that matter. They're seen and they'd be like, this guy probably should be playing safety.
Tailbacks.
I think that happens. But no, we as Andy said, we saw Riley Moss. We know how good he is. Doesn't matter what color he is.
All right, Murph, I got my flu shot last week, something I try to do every year. Do you try to get a flu shot?
I do not. I don't get a flu shot.
I do. I get one every year. I haven't had the flu in a really, really long time. I have a wife and a mother-in-law who are nurses, and they work. They're not perfect, of course, but it's something that I think has kept me from getting the flu. Look, man, I got little kids that are bringing that stuff home all the time, so I haven't gotten it. So,
and I've never gotten sick after getting a flu shot. I know sometimes people do, or they feel run down.
I do.
I had a sore shoulder for about 48 hours, but that was about it.
People think you get the flu from a flu shot when it's a totally inactive virus, and it's impossible.
I now hope I don't get the flu. That's gonna be a tough excused absence if I get the flu at this point. Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Oktoberfest launched there Friday. We were there and had a great time, and it was a beautiful day outside, but we appreciate all the people who stayed inside while we were doing the show there at Confluence, and Sipker made it there, and God, that was a mess. But the rest of the show went really well. So thank you to Confluence for having us out there and for being the official beer of the Murph and Andy show. Let's get some more. More.
Yep, we're doing it.
But wait, there's more. From Either Or Eatery and Patio.
All right.
I'm still figuring some of this stuff out, guys.
You're doing really well. There's a lot going on. By the way, this heat here, I don't know how people live here. I really don't. So it's going to be 107 today. We're like pounding electrolyte waters, and Jenny's fingers are all swollen like sausages because of how dehydrated you get here. I can't stay ahead of it. It's too hot. This is too much. How do people do it?
How do they have patios there? Do they have those like misting machines?
No, I can see the patio right now. Jenny is out there by the pool, but she's in a cabana because you can't sit in the sun. You melt. It's just
sears
miserable.
your skin.
God, it was so hot at that game. 105 at kickoff. 5 p.m.
Hot, no matter how dry that heat is. Okay, we will begin with this. Yes, Either Or, Eatery and Patio, 6222 Grand Avenue. More great patio weather headed this way. It's here. Another completely dry, warmer than average week for us. Could approach 90 on Thursday. We typically get our first frost of the season this week, but we ain't getting that this way. It was low 40s this morning. There's no humidity right now, so the temperature is just rising and falling really, really quickly, but not below freezing. So, yeah, more good stuff. And then look at that, pushing 90 there again.
For Football Friday.
Yeah, for Football Friday, we'll have kind of similar weather to what we had last Friday at North. Where are we this week?
Urbandale.
Urbandale, that's it.
Going to the U.
Going to the U. The U is this the first time we've been to the U? We
first time.
We haven't been there too many times. They've been skeptical.
Yes. I think
of letting us come.
New AD there.
The AD changed up, and suddenly it's going to be okay. We'll show that we don't bite on Friday. Amazon Prime Big Deal Days starts tomorrow.
It does? Oh,
yes.
No. Oh, no.
That's Christmas shopping. Yep. Walmart and Target have already started their big Christmas shopping sales. They're going on right now to compete with Amazon. But just put that stuff in your Amazon Prime bin and wait till tomorrow to see if some of that stuff gets discounted and you can save a little bit of cash. Hurricane Milton, you mentioned this a little bit, Murph. Look at this, where we are here. It is forecast the forecast is absolutely awful for Florida. You can see this path here goes basically right through the Tampa Bay area, which is a major population center. There are so many people there.
Yeah, they've evacuated the Bucks have left.
Yeah, they went to New Orleans, or they're leaving tomorrow. They're getting out of there early so that they can get there and way ahead of time for their game with the Saints this weekend. My mother has a house south of Sarasota, which is not in the direct worst path, but it's absolutely in the path of getting hurricane residuals. So many people live here. I think Governor DeSantis has recommended that, first of all, he's pulled back. The National Guard troops have been working on the Hurricane Helene recovery, pulled them back so that they're ready for Hurricane Milton. and advised other people to simply evacuate if they can. We have some good friends down in Cape Coral, which is just north of Fort Myers, which is definitely on the southern edge of this path, but they got a lot from Helene, and they're just sick of it. They're like, that's it. We're going back to Kansas for a while. They pulled up the stakes, got in the car, and hit the road. That sucks.
They can't get a break down there.
No, this is happening like every couple of years. They're getting, I don't know. I mean, Florida is a really nice place, a nice place to live, but is it worth it with all of these hurricanes all the time? They're so frequent now.
I know, and it would, I played, my high school nickname was the Hurricanes. So they've always been around, but they sure didn't seem to hit as frequently as they do now. And my sister still lives there, and she says that it's more frequent, but I don't know what the data says, but it sure seems that way.
Yeah, I think it is more frequent. Coupon Birds combed through Google reviews of restaurants with 4 more locations, analyzing reviews of more than 161,000 individual establishments to come up with the top 10 super chain restaurants. These are those with 1,000 or more locations nationwide. So the number 1 super chain restaurant is Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. Probably not a surprise there. Their customer satisfaction has been pretty stinking strong. Five Guys is second, although those are way too expensive. Jersey Mike's subs. Those are pretty good subs. I've had a few of those. The Waffle House and Starbucks. That's your top 5.
Andy, my son, Cade, who does digital media at Iowa Realty. So Mike Pace, longtime local broadcasting legend. He hosts the show there, and Cade works with Mike all the time, and Mike recently retired, and Cade has really enjoyed working with Mike Pace. He's been very nice to him. Mike has been kind enough to send me a note about Cade and working with Cade. So Cade tells me, he's like, hey, do you think it'd be appropriate if I asked Mike right before he retires if I could take him to lunch, because I really like him and I just want to thank him and tell him how much he's meant to me? And he says, I say, yeah, I think that'd be great. I'll bet Mike would be flattered and he would enjoy that. So Cade asked Mike Pace to lunch. Mike says, I'd love to do that. Sends like a couple of email reminders just to make sure they're all on the same page. And they go and they have the lunch, and I'm waiting to hear how it went. And I asked Cade, Cade, how'd it go? He goes, oh, it went great. And I said, well, where did you take Mike? He's like, Chick-fil-A. So
yeah,
he took him to Chick-fil-A.
Like I'm picturing 801 or something.
Well, I don't know. I'm picturing like Noah's Ark or Christopher's or something. But then Jenny said, and she's probably right. She's probably like, I'll bet Mike got a big kick out of that. Kid taking the 23-year-old takes him to Chick-fil-A on his retirement day.
Everybody likes to eat Chick-fil-A. That's a no-brainer there. The 10 worst rated chain restaurants in the United States. We'll do this inverted style. Popeyes. Although I do like Popeyes.
I do too.
They have the best chicken sandwich, I think.
Do you remember when there were lines like down the street when that chicken sandwich first came out? It was a sensation.
It's worth it. Maybe there's some other things about Popeyes that people don't like as much. Wahlburgers. Hy-Vee's Wahlburgers. And there can't even be that many of those in the United States. Hy-Vee isn't that widespread, but it's somehow in the bottom 5. They didn't do well here. I know that because that was like the other Wahlberg brother.
Right.
The one that wasn't famous was in on this.
They had a like a documentary show or a reality show where they were trying to kind of make him famous, but the whole thing just doesn't seem like it worked well.
It sounds like he has. I mean, they've been trying to prop him up. It sounds like his burgers aren't good enough. I know they were expensive too, so they've closed for the most part here. Bobby's Burgers. That's a Bobby Flay joint. Apparently, people hate it. McDonald's. They never do well on this list, but I will have to say I did go to McDonald's. I went to McDonald's the other day. I do like McDonald's. That new $5 meal is a pretty good deal. It's you get like a McDouble, small fries, a 4-piece McNugget, and a drink for $5.
Sounds reasonable.
That is. That's a good price.
We love to go there for the fountain drinks. There's just
they got the best fountain Cokes,
drinks and the straw.
Yeah.
And since we discovered that you can get a bag of ice at the drive-thru, whenever we need ice, we just go to the McDonald's drive-thru.
You've told me that. I've not tried that yet. Do you have to have your own bag?
No, it comes all
They
bagged.
just hand out bags of ice at McDonald's.
Correct.
It'd be crazier if you had to bring a bag. Here,
well, it's crazy that they're handing ice out the window. Like
they do,
like a 20-pound bag of ice.
It's not 20 pounds. It's I don't know.
5 pound,
a little
5
5
or 10
pounder
pound bag. Yeah.
And the worst rated chain restaurant in the country is Taco John's.
Really?
Taco Juan's. Yeah,
I like Taco John's.
I like Taco John's.
Yeah, the Olays are fantastic.
The tater tots.
Taco John's
flattened
aren't they
tater
potato
tots.
Olays?
Yeah, they're
good.
potato Olays.
Yeah, a little seasoning on
They're
them.
tater
They're
tots.
good.
Yeah. All right, let's take a time out to remember that Steve Harvey earns his paycheck on Family Feud.
Something you'd hate to find on your wiener at the ballpark.
Condom.
Huh?
A condom?
A condom.
You would hate to
She's
find
not
that
wrong.
on your wiener.
You would absolutely hate to find it.
A hot
She's
dog,
not wrong.
A hot dog, ketchup, mustard, and a condom. Would make it easier to wipe off the condiments if you didn't want them.
Man.
The 2025 Jeep Wrangler will feature power windows, making the 2024 model officially the last to offer manual crank windows. RIP to the old roll up and down. I used to be able to roll those up and down quick, really fast. But nobody's got them anymore. And it's kind of funny that, I mean, Jeeps have removable doors, so you would think that in some applications they would have to have the manual crank windows, but you can connect the power there and use power windows too. All right, let's finish with a round of someone on Reddit. This is a new one here. Try to pull those out when I can. Someone on Reddit asked, what jobs are a turnoff for a serious relationship?
Turn off serious relationship by occupation. Got it.
Okay.
Yes. You're thinking about dating somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You find out what they do.
Stripper.
Yeah.
That's on the list. Anything on the poll, I think, is qualifies this list.
Although that could be where your initial interest came from.
Yes, right. If that's the case, then you've already checked off on that one.
Although if you meet somebody when they're working and then start dating them, don't you want them to like stop working there because it's like, well, you met your current boyfriend.
I don't want anybody else checking you out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
It's off to a rough start.
You don't need to be on the poll anymore. I got you. Anything church related, like if you're an organist, I guess that doesn't scream relationship material. Pastor.
Anything church related?
Going to be early
You
Saturday
could be
night.
a person of God.
No, anything. Well, it's. I didn't.
It's
make
on
it up.
Reddit.
It's on the. It's
on
gotta be
Reddit.
true. Yeah, a politician. I can absolutely see that.
Yeah.
Real estate agents. I know a lot of them. But somebody says they are constantly on their phones, and you can't even go to lunch with these people without them texting and calling constantly.
That's pretty much everybody.
That is true. Real estate agents, I mean, they have to be just like they're always on call.
They're
It's
like
tough job.
Woj.
Yeah, he finally gave it up. Cops, another tough job. I imagine that you take home a lot. A nightclub worker.
Bad hours.
Just because of the hours, I guess, and then just the stuff that you the stuff that person now thinks is normal.
Yes.
That their line is moved.
You get some stories.
A friend of mine dated a chef. She now advises anyone who will listen to never date a chef. She says you never see them. Yeah, if you watch like The Bear, you guys watch that? That's such a great show on Hulu.
I don't have Hulu. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard my son Cato, I mentioned before, he watched it. He says it does make him a little anxious to watch it sometimes. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's said to be by people in the business to be the most realistic show about working in a restaurant.
My wife
And it
worked
is
as a chef for a while when we were first dating. And on one hand, the hours were a little nuts. On the other hand, I got free food all the time. So that was pretty
Put on
sweet.
30 pounds.
Yeah,
exactly. and she's a really good cook at home too, because those skills definitely travel well. But yeah, I mean, they're real slim margins, and they have to work so hard. Astrologer, acupuncturist, chiropractor, preacher, or naturopath.
I don't know what a naturopath is.
Isn't that just some sort of doctor that heals with herbs and essential oils and stuff, and maybe some crystals? Anyone who peddles multi-level marketing products and services.
Yeah.
The MLM stuff, because they're just always looking for that next person to follow them into this path.
There's also an intelligence
It'll change your life.
there.
It changed mine. What's that?
There's an intelligence factor there too.
I think
how'd
you're
you get roped into this?
Yeah, they got you?
Have you ever, I'm sure you both have, you have that uncomfortable conversation with one of your friends who has just decided to start selling some product out of their house, or they have a party and you get invited to it. And it used to be Tupperware parties, but sometimes they're cosmetics or various things. And you're like, man, I don't want any of this. I don't know how to say no. I don't want to go to this. I don't want to buy anything. I want to be a good friend.
I remember Kahala hosting a Norwex party. And Judy was at that party, and she left with quite a few Norwex products.
I don't know what Norwex is. What is
Oh,
Norwex?
it's like these cleaning products for your house.
Microfiber.
Yeah, they work
towels.
really well. The towels are great. Yeah, they do.
Sounds like you're about to have another party.
Yeah, probably could. Surgeons, I listened to them complain about their wives and kids during surgery.
Jeez.
They're supposed to be focused on the surgery, right?
You'd hope.
An entrepreneur with 8 side hustles.
That's a lot.
Anything OnlyFans. A
Could
therapist.
make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Good money and not bad hours.
Yeah, therapist. I mean, you either they. My mother is a therapist. They're either focused on your shit, or they're comparing you to somebody else, right? I mean, they're analyzing all the time.
Yeah.
Either you, or they're comparing you to somebody else. Investment bankers, arrogant and always working.
Well, that seems like a generalization. Arrogant and always working. Arrogant. If you're an investment banker,
this
you're
is
arrogant.
Reddit, Murph. Yeah,
I
this
know.
is Reddit.
I know. It's like.
And finally, anything involving the word influencer.
Yeah.
Have you? I mean, I know a number of people I think that would qualify as influencers. I don't know that any of them list that as their job. Like their occupation.
Right.
I think they do it in addition to other stuff. But I know I'm certain that there are people that are like, no, I'm an influencer. You know that because I think that's like what every other kid wants to grow up to be these days.
So my
Right.
kids
TikTok.
wanna be. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be a TikTok
YouTube.
influencer or have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, the coolest thing about this show for my kids is that I'm on YouTube. They see me as a YouTube star.
I think, that is where they will find me more than anywhere else these days, for sure. That's your more, everybody.
All right. Nicely done, Andy. Thank you. Sponsor shout out of the day to Grimaldi's. And look at this footage.
I love this video. Yeah. Matt Van Winkle.
I like the
put
photos
this together.
of the Grimaldi's, not to mention the pizza.
Yeah, let's get a little deeper into the video this time so we can see more pie. Look at that. Oh, look, he's tossing that. That's just one of the dudes up in Ankeny. This isn't some Hollywood video.
AD, is this the official music of Grimaldi's?
It is now.
I can't hear
Man,
it.
I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet today. I'm hungry.
Oh,
Now I'm really hungry.
Oh, yeah.
Not at
Look
Grimaldi's in
look at
Tempe.
this- Look at the size of that slice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a big hand-tossed, coal oven-baked pizza right there. There you go.
Thank you, Grimaldi's. It is time now for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We call it the AD squared.
We do, and it's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I had my first visit to Game Day last week. Excited to get going on the tee shots and see how they improve my life, my day, make me feel, give me more energy, all that kind of stuff. They have locations up in Ankeny, that's where I go, West Des Moines out in University, and then in Eastern Iowa in North Liberty. Check them out. Game Day Men's Health. A lot of people are taking our advice and going to Game Day, and they're really cool. Loved how comfortable and professional everything was when I went there. Minnesota beat USC on Saturday night, and during that game, towards the end, they were hit with a penalty for mimicking brandishing a weapon. It was we saw Alan Lazard get penalized for this in the NFL, not Sunday, but a week ago. Kind of the finger guns, but yeah, the guy got penalized for mimicking brandishing a weapon. Well, Chandler Elsbecker asked Coy Parrish and Ja Joyner about the penalty after the game. Let's see if you can tell which one of these players is a true freshman and which one is a fifth-year senior.
You ever heard of a brandishing the weapon penalty before?
No, that was terrible. That was terrible.
We can't control what the refs say.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
just this freshman's just honest. Man, that was awful. And as soon as he said it, the guy's like, "Hey, we can't control what happens."
I think the Baylor receiver was hit with one of those flags on Saturday night. He went with like the full assault rifle pose there. I think he got flagged there in the end zone after his touchdown catch, I believe.
And I saw a funny TikTok this week after the Lazard finger guns got penalized, and it's like, when the Patriots score, they have guys literally fire muskets on the sideline, and when the Buccaneers
Iowa State fires a cannon.
Yeah, cannons go off. It's like it's just such a weird thing it's all over our society, the kind of dual perception we have with guns and everything. It's the guy on the field can't do this, but the guy on the sideline can shoot a literal gun, and it's like, hey, that's just a celebration.
Iowa State caused me to crap my pants more than once up there. What you get where you're anticipating it, you're waiting for it. But when that cannon goes off and you're not expecting it and you're near it, you can soil yourself.
It's so loud.
Oh,
it's so like it can ruin your hearing for a while if you're close. I think
What's
they
that?
do a pretty good job. Yeah, right, exactly. I think they do a better job now of warning everybody it's about to go off, but that sucker's loud.
Quickie poll results from WCI Pools and Spas. I'm about to get in a pool right now, or as soon as I'm done, but I'm not getting in the hot tub. There is one here. Who would use that? I don't know. Let's check this out. It's on the college football playoff, Andy.
Will Iowa State be in the college football playoff? Yes or no? At this point, we got the no's have it with 54% of the vote. 46% rather say yes.
But just think about 5 games into the season, nearly half the people think Iowa State is going to be in the college football playoffs.
They're essentially saying they're going to win the Big 12 championship, right? I mean, that's what the question is, because 2 Big 12 teams aren't getting in, most likely. Can they go win the title? I don't see why not. They feel like the best team right now.
Everybody would prefer to have this question saved for next week, but now's the time you got to ask it, right? I mean, now's when it's tough.
Yeah, that is when it's tough. Well, hey, thank you for being part of Murph and Andy, and Andy, it was fun to be here at Arizona State and see that we can still do the show on a day off.
Yep, we could pull this off. Yeah, you did it, I did it. Yeah, it works, and you got to show the inside of your hotel room just like I did down in Mexico.
I know. At least I'm not sweating all the time. I do look completely dehydrated. Not all of that's drinking. You can help us by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your Iowa Everywhere podcast. Enter Iowa Everywhere into the search term, and you can check out all of our shows. Please like and subscribe. Invite friends to join our party. We'd love that. And we'll be back Wednesday. We hope you will too, for an all-new live Murph and Andy.